All right, let's get started. For today's briefing, we're not going to talk about a new market or some hot new tech vertical. No, we're presenting a deep forensic report on a severely overlooked asset class, one that frankly dictates the long-term value of every single leader in this room: reliability. And this quote right here, this is the core thesis of our entire report. See, in a professional world that has, for some reason, systematized underdelivery, the simple act of just honoring a commitment has gone from a basic expectation to a premium, high-yield asset. So let's dig into the market conditions that have created this valuation anomaly. First up, we're going to define the market environment that gives reliability its almost staggering valuation. I want to introduce a term for the environment we are all operating in right now: the Flake Economy. It's a market that is fundamentally defined by a systemic gap between what's promised and what's actually delivered. You know the drill. Commitments are made when motivation is high, but as soon as a little friction gets introduced, a huge percentage of them just default. And when you look at the data, it's pretty stark. We're seeing a baseline failure rate of 30 to 40% on professional commitments. And let's be clear, this is not a rounding error. It's a massive, glaring inefficiency in the market. It means that on any given day, about a third of the value promised in meetings and emails is just evaporating into thin air. So here's the critical insight. You are not competing with the most talented person in your field. You are competing with the average reliability of your field. Think about that. When the baseline is a 60% follow-through rate, just operating at 100% gives you a 2 to 3 times performance advantage. The premium you command is trust, and trust is the currency that all other opportunities are denominated in. Okay, so now let's flip the coin. Let's analyze how the absence of this asset isn't just a missed opportunity. It actually shows up as a catastrophic, hidden liability on an individual's and even an organization's balance sheet. Let me walk you through this case study. It's a scenario we have seen countless times in our portfolio companies. We'll call the person Elena, and she is the perfect archetype of exceptional talent being totally devalued by inconsistency. Elena was, by all accounts, the most gifted creative director we'd seen in a decade. Her career started like a rocket ship, but a pattern began to emerge. Brilliant, game-changing work, but it was followed by missed follow-ups, late deliveries, and just a trail of broken small promises. Now, each one of those instances was individually forgivable, but the cumulative pattern, that created a catastrophic liability.
We have a name for this. We call it the talent tax. For every single moment of Elena's genius, the firm was paying a tax in management overhead, in client apologies, and in team uncertainty. Her brilliance was an asset for sure, but the cost to hold that asset eventually exceeded its return.
And this quote, this captures the final verdict from the managing partner who passed her over for that promotion. This was not an emotional decision. It was a risk assessment. The firm decided it could no longer underwrite the liability of her unreliability. Her potential, in effect, became an uninvestable asset. So how do we measure this, right? How do we move reliability from some vague virtue to an actual quantifiable asset? Well, now we're going to introduce the valuation model. It is time to audit your trust equity. I want every leader listening to this to conduct a genuine, unflinching audit. Seriously, this is not a rhetorical question. Your word has a market price, and it's determined by your track record. What are you actually trading at? So here is a precise 3-step audit to run before you make any significant commitment. First, assess your actual capacity to deliver, not your aspirational, hopeful capacity. Second, calculate the real trust cost of a yes you can't fully honor versus the pretty minor social cost of an honest no. And third, record the outcome. You have to treat every commitment like an entry in a financial ledger. And this is what that ledger looks like in practice. This is how you turn a soft skill into a hard metric. You've got founder A with a 96% score. That person's word is a blue chip stock. Then you've got exec B with a negative score. Their commitments are trading like junk bonds, requiring massive risk premiums from anyone who's willing to invest in them. And here's the crucial point. Potential without a reliable delivery mechanism is just too volatile. It's too unpredictable, and ultimately it is too expensive to maintain. In any market, whether it's for investment or partnership or opportunity, an asset that can't be held is eventually an asset that isn't held. Period. All right, Finally, let's translate this audit into an actionable, board-level mandate for your organization. This is how you build a culture that actually mints this currency. Every leader and every organization is trading at one of these two rates. There's no middle ground. You're either getting the flake discount, where each broken promise makes the next one less credible, compounding downward. Or you're earning the discipline premium, where each kept promise builds equity, compounding upward with exponential returns in trust and opportunity. So this is the checklist for your very next quarterly executive review. Make reliability a tracked KPI. Audit your team's delivery ratio. Identify who on your team is charging a talent tax and quantify its cost. And most importantly, you have to reward consistency as aggressively as you reward genius. Make showing up the absolute non-negotiable standard. And this brings us to the ultimate stakes. When another company is conducting due diligence on you, they aren't just auditing your financials, they are auditing the integrity of your leadership's commitments. In that high-stakes environment, is your team's collective word an asset that actually increases your valuation, or is it a hidden liability that just might kill the deal? Look, your professional reputation isn't some abstract concept. It is a running ledger of every single promise you've ever kept or broken. The market for your word never closes, and that ledger is open right now. Your mandate is to treat it as the high-stakes financial document it really is. So make your next entry count.
Subscribe, turn on notifications, comment below.